The playbook was written in ink, or so they said. But the field changed the moment that we moved ahead. Circumstances shift, the shadows start to grow. In the script we memorize, it's time to let it go. I see the blitz coming, I see the pressure mount. But it's not how you start, it's the finish that will count. I'm the quarterback standing in the eye of the storm. Shattering the silence, breaking every norm. Call the audible, change the line. We're stepping out of formation and into the design. From the wreckage of the plans we made, we found a light that will never fade. When the world goes dark and the silence lies, look to your brother, look in his eyes. We are the storm that clears the skies. Say it with your chest, together we rise. Together we rise, together we rise. Yeah, yeah. Together we rise. Yeah. Welcome to the sanctuary, the unscripted truth, where we peel back the layers and we rebuild the roof. No plutonium files needed to crack the code. Just honest conversation on this heavy road. Zero topics off the table, let the record show. This is the realest frequency that you will ever know. I'm scared too, yeah, I'll admit the fear, but courage only matters when the danger is near. So tune in, lock in, let the hours pass. We're building something solid that is built to last. It's 6 p.m. The sun is going down, but we are the kings of this unspoken town. They want us divided, they want us apart, but they underestimated the strength of this heart. We don't need a teleprompter to tell us who to be. We just need this moment.
Yo, what is up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show. You already know what to do, so why don't you go ahead and do it with us? That is right. We're here. We're back. Seems like it's been forever, but we're back. We'll get to that in a second. I've got Miss D. I've got Mace Valor with me. Gotta say what's up to my co-host. Miss D, how you doing?
I am doing. It's Wednesday, so you guys all know that I come off of work. So I'm shoveling my face full of food because it was a day. So I apologize to anybody unless that's your thing, whatever. I don't want to know about it. But yeah, I'm gonna be eating.
Okay, yeah. I mean, because the stuff in your face with food, and I mean, like it's Birdman Show, not Birdman After Dark. Anyways, let's go. Mace Valor, how the heck you doing, brother?
Oh, you know me. I'm as dandy as ever. Always.
Good. Let's out freaking standing. Hold on a second. Thought I heard an echo. Maybe I didn't. Okay. Anyways. But yes, it's outstanding. I do want to say this first and foremost. I just want to thank everybody for the love, support, all the positive vibes everybody's sent through this. For those who don't know, my father passed away July 4th. And it's been difficult at times. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even think I've begun my grieving process. So I don't know how things are, how they're going to be. I'm just trying to be there as much as I can for my mom, because right now she's my main concern. But like I said, we are moving along. We are a strong family. We'll get through this. Special shout out to my wife, Des, who's been, pretty good through this. This is not, I'm sure it's not tough. It's not easy for her to watch me go through this. But it is what it is. Oh, Flo's in the house. What is up, Flizzo? I'm pretty sure you got baby bird there. Actually, teen bird. Sorry. But I really do appreciate everybody. JB in the house. What is up? What is up, brother? Yeah, man. Yeah. I appreciate that, man. I really freaking do appreciate that. It's never easy to lose a parent, even if like they're it's their time or whatever, or they're getting there towards that point in time. But just to know that he's not in pain anymore is comforting. Like I said, my father's a phenomenal man. No, do we always get along? Heck no. Um, and that's fine with me. But at the same time, I loved every moment I got a chance to spend with my dad. So I definitely appreciate that. I appreciate that from everyone. Love you guys. Very, very, very much. Now to the show. Um, um, yeah, about that. I have no idea what we're really going to talk about because my mind has been so scattered. We had a couple, quite a few, kind of few, kind of few topics that were flowing around there. Thank you, Flo. So we're trying to figure things out. So what we decided to do was a let's talk about it episode. Now, if you've never been a part of a let's talk about it episode, no, a lot of times what happens is, I might have somewhat of a topic, but it kind of spins off and goes off into other things. Oh, definitely sorry to hear that, Tabs. I don't care if it was 19 years ago. You always, because Tabs said, that her father passed 19 years ago. You still grieve. And so that's tough. I know what I'm saying, especially when you're really close to, your parent, or whoever it is that passes. It's still so my grandma, she passed away in 2004. And there are times where like I can smell her perfume. And sometimes I can hear her voice, when I'm saying something, doing something, I can hear her voice. And it's like it never goes away. After a certain period of time, you just learn to live with it, learn how to live with it. It is what it is. Angel, what's up, sis? How you doing? I ain't seen you in a while. I hope everything's okay with you and Bob. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. So I hope everything's okay with you guys. Love you. But yeah, this is a let's talk about it episode. So we're gonna try to throw out a few topics. Now, this is one of those episodes, especially if you're in the audience. This is really tailor made for you guys, because you can drop comments in the comment section, and that could end up sparking off a whole completely different conversation. So I actually really do like these episodes. They're kind of fun. So Angel. So these are kind of fun. So I'm gonna ask my co-host real quick first because I had some notes that of let's talk about episode. I'm gonna see if I can find those real quick. But I'm gonna ask my co-host, if there's anything that they want to kind of start the show off with here, that's non-political. No, I'm joking about that. I really don't care. I really do not care. I don't think there's enough. I don't think we have enough of an audience that we're really getting monitored by the government just yet. So but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Oh boy, Angel said, "Let me tell you something." Oh boy. So while she's typing that up to tell us, I'm gonna kick it over to my co-host real quick. Mace, you want to start us off? Say is there something? Like I said, I was joking about the whole political thing.
Well,
but
so
what do you got?
not to kind of get too carried on the things that I was talking about before we actually went live, but this is something that I have noticed just in general, and I kind of want to ask the peanut gallery, as it were. One of the interesting pop culture related things right now is Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which, hey, I mean, controversy aside, I'm a big fan of his films and I am looking forward to checking it out. But I am curious if other people are equally sour about the casting choice, because I do have a very simple explanation of why he chose the cast that he did, and it's less tinfoil hatty than most things. But I'm wondering if other people are also a little weird about the particular casting choice he chose for this particular tale, because as far as the Western world is concerned, this is stories like this and the Epic of Gilgamesh. I mean, these are stories that kind of were the bedrock of Western culture from thousands of years ago up until now. These are things that we kind of hold really close, near and dear to our hearts. And it's something that, we, as far as our education system go, these are stories that everybody is required to learn as they go through school.
Right.
So pretty much almost everyone is familiar to some degree about, the Greek epic, the Odyssey, and, the Iliad, which came before it, written by, or it was originally orally told, but by Homer.
So before I kind of get into that, I'll let Miss D handle or talk about that if she wants to first. I gotta say, congrats, Angel. That is freaking phenomenal. She lost
Tell me what's going on.
77 pounds over the last year.
I'm not on my computer, so tell me what she said.
Yeah, she said she lost 77 pounds in the last 12 months. So that is
Yay.
awesome for you, sis. I'm proud of you. Good job. Here's the thing, something like that, it may not seem like a big deal to some people, but for some, who may have been struggling with weight or even health issues because of that, Valkyrie, that is a huge deal. So I'm very proud of you, sis, and definitely send some secrets this way because I need to shed a few pounds myself. So definitely let a brother know what the deal is. Miss D, what are some of your thoughts on this casting of the Odyssey?
So I am going to be very transparent and tell you that I have no freaking clue because I don't know. I don't keep up with that kind of stuff. Valkyrie's got a lot to say tonight.
I see
No, what it is, I finished my ribs and I put the plate up, and she's like, "But I want to lick it." But I actually don't have any idea who is cast for what. I mean, I'm familiar with the story. It's been a long time, but that's one of those stories that doesn't like really. It doesn't go anywhere. Once you've heard it, you've heard it. So, but I have no idea who's cast in it. So I don't really have an opinion either way.
So I know Matt Damon is playing in this movie. I don't remember which character is he playing. Is it
Odysseus?
He's the main character. Odysseus. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's right. Odysseus. I know he's the main character. One of the main characters in there. So you got Matt Damon playing Odysseus. I think it's, let me see. Isn't that Anne Hathaway in the movie? I feel like she's in the movie.
So he has quite a few actors that he's used before. Which that's like a very Nolan thing. Once he gets an actor in his fold, he likes to reuse them in other films.
I didn't know freaking Tom Holland was in this movie.
Yeah, he plays Odysseus.
So Tom Holland's in this movie. Oh my god. Oh, John Rutherford. Oh yes, I love him. Played the Punisher. Played in Walking Dead. Phenomenal actor. What is that girl? I don't even know how to say her name. She's playing Helen of Troy. That's freaking Zendaya's in the movie. Oh, Zendaya, she's playing Athena. Okay, I had a dog named Athena. Not saying Zendaya's a dog. No, far from it. But just saying I did have a dog named Athena. Charlize Theron. Robert Pattinson. I didn't know he was in this movie either. Good God Almighty.
Yeah, he plays the.
There's a lot of
the guy that's trying
to
steal his wife.
Antonis, whatever. So that's a pretty star-studded cast there. So you said there's some controversial.
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of cutting in and out.
What's some of the ones that you? Oh, is it? Hold on a second.
Oh, it's better now.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, the controversial ones as far as the Twitter sphere goes of what everyone's, and Twitter it's always been a hellscape. It's just shifted its political leaning from one side of the hellscape spectrum to the exact opposite. So, but that's kind of where a lot of the discussion's coming from. But then also YouTube, which is controlled by Google, and for the most part, they've kind of like been more of what Twitter used to be, like the more liberal, left-leaning kind of perspective. But one of the things that YouTube did a long time ago was remove the dislike counter. However, there are third-party extensions that you can use. You can see the dislike counter. The dislike counter, it is massive on the most recent trailer for the Odyssey. We're talking, it's like got like, last I checked, it was like 76,000 likes and over 600,000 dislikes. So the vast majority of people that have watched the trailer on YouTube have disliked it. So, and then when we look at the actual discussions online, a lot of these casting choices come from a mix of reasons. One is the actual individual, and then two is what we saw, like with Supergirl, is because of the interviews. So when they start talking about the movie in response to the controversy that is online, the rationale that they give kind of doubles down and it pisses people off. So the casting choices that are a little out there, you have like the low-hanging fruit at the top. So you have Matt Damon. So people don't like the fact that Matt Damon is supposed to be Odysseus. Once again, low-hanging fruit, because it's like, whatever. I mean, who else are you going to choose, right? It makes sense for him to choose Matt Damon because he's used Matt Damon in several of his films before. So, of course, he's going to insert him here in an additional one. The other one is Zendaya. So this is where we start to kind of get to what the core of the problem is that a flood of people aren't liking the casting choices based upon ethnicity. So Zendaya is a big controversy because of her ethnic background, playing a Greek god, who in the Western world, the Greek gods are showcased off as being white. So people have a problem with that. Once again, these are Greek gods, so they could be any myriad of things, because what do we know of Greek gods? That you know, in the very lore of themselves, they can change their very appearance. So if they want to look like whatever the hell they want to look like, it's whatever. So there's the low-hanging fruit stuff that can be hand waved away for whatever reason. But the three the biggest ones that have had the most discussion are the casting for Ellen of Troy, the casting of Elliot Page in the movie in the role of a warrior, and then Travis Scott. Which that one, it's just like a what the hell kind of thing, and then the explanation.
Travis Scott,
yeah,
the rapper.
So, yes. So
what?
a lot of these are really weird. So the reason, I can't remember the actress's name, but it's she's black, and so people don't like the fact that Helen of Troy in the movie is black.
Yeah, she was the girl that played in. She's the girl that played in. What's his name? Jordan Peele's Us.
Probably. Like, yeah, I've seen her before. I just don't know where.
I think she also played in. I think what was that other? There was the other movie. It was like supposed to be. They're kind of almost based off of, like, I think that was her that played in that. That it was two black actors, and their characters were, I guess, were on the run from the law or for something. And it was like, I don't know. I think it's supposed to be based off. I don't know if it's based off of. Anyways, doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Yeah. So those are the big three, and they all kind of like have their own varying thing. The Travis Scott thing, I think it's not so much about the skin color with him. It's just the fact that he's in it at all is kind of more of the issue. And that's where like the conversation about the explanation of it doesn't make any sense at all. So essentially, Christopher Nolan is trying to double down on his choices without explicitly saying the honest reason why he chose all these people. So the online
I'm sorry. No, I need a freaking explanation on Travis Scott. I need that.
We could easily start there. So
what's his character though?
His character is a bard. Basically, like he sings. Like it's like kind of like in the original epic. There's characters that like sing whatever So the thing is his character is like a minstrel. He's a bard. He's a poet, right? And he sings whatever. So Travis Scott wrote a rap song for the Odyssey. That's where it makes sense because he's in it, whatever, right? But the part that doesn't make sense is that leading up, when he's like, before like a lot of the stuff was kind of revealed to the public about it, Christopher Nolan was going on and on talking about authenticity, talking about using practical effects, talking about shooting on film, like all the things that Christopher Nolan is known for. And then constantly saying that he wants it to be as true to the historical accuracies of the time as humanly possible. And then people are like, well, Travis Scott, this doesn't make any sense. Like rap music, like this is a tale that takes place like 3,000 years ago. Like what the hell are you talking about? And then he goes into do the double downing, which is to argue, well, if you think about it, all modern rap music is a homage to poetry from so long ago. And it's like, it's one of those things. It's like, you're kidding me, right? Like, we're not buying this. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait. So, wait a minute. So you're not talking a soundtrack. You're talking about in the movie, he does a rap song.
Yeah, at some point in it, yeah. But then that song is also part of the original score and stuff.
So
my head hurts now.
I do have one thing I kind of want to add to that. With people complaining, of the ethnicity and background, they started that big time when they started doing animation to live action.
Yeah.
The whole like Little Mermaid thing. Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but when you're sitting there saying, well, Ariel can't be black, well, but she's a freaking mermaid. Who cares what color skin she has?
I don't even
She's
know
a
what color
mermaid.
mermaids are.
Right? I mean, but the same people that are complaining about like the ethnic background, are these the same people that say that Jesus himself was a white man with blue eyes? The king of the Jews?
Brown as a motherfucker, I'm telling you.
Or how about the fact that they keep depicting kings and queens of Egypt as white?
Right. And that's what gets me is, the color of the skin should have no bearing on the story being told.
Nah, I just want to know, can you act? Can you get the story across?
If the actor is good and the story is good, the ethnicity of the person portraying that will become that person. When these authors come up with these stories for whatever reason, I'm sure they've got something in their head of what they're seeing, but when they're telling this story, we're seeing our own story in our own minds. I may sit there and say, oh well, Matt Damon isn't right for this because I saw Willem Dafoe as this person. I mean, just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
We all have different perspectives on it. And as like I said, as long as the acting is good and the writing is good, what the person looks like has no bearing on the story.
I'm sorry, I'm still having a prop time with Travis Scott doing a rap song in something that
Which I think that the Travis Scott casting, I think, is far more problematic than the other ones because it doesn't line up to the scrutiny of him doubling down, saying the whole, oh, we want this to be as historically accurate as possible.
No, it makes no sense.
Skin color aside, what's with the rap music? I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I could care less. If Travis Scott wants to break into acting, there's been plenty of musicians and people who've done other professions that have broken into acting, and they've done a pretty darn good job. So if he wants to do that, outstanding. I mean, if you really think about it, music videos, that's all they are. They're just mini movies. You know what I'm saying? They're just mini movies. So some of them, they can transition over. Look at Ludacris. Ludacris is a famous rapper who is has done a phenomenal. I think he's probably done
50 Cent.
50 Cent. But I think
John Cena.
Yeah, I think 50 and Luda have probably done I don't know, 50 maybe he's done more as far as maybe music, but I mean their careers are pretty darn split down the middle as far as you rather see them in the movies, rather see or hear their music. You know what I'm saying? Those two, it doesn't matter with the one they're doing, love them both. But this doesn't. I am a little stuck on that one there, Mace. As to an acting decision choice and the fact that him how is that historical accurate? How is that historically accurate in any way? And you can say this whole thing about, it's a tribute to the poetry of the time, and that Shakespeare, all he was the greatest rapper to ever live, William Shakespeare. Shut up. Like, bro, like, I mean, if you just wanted to choose somebody to do that, and dude, you're the director, you're a director. You're doing the casting. If it works, it works. Don't feed me no BS. You know what I'm saying? And I agree about the interviews you briefly talked about, because there's a lot of people, and I can't think of her name, but you know her name, but the girl plays Supergirl. We were turned off her about her interviews. The girl about Snow White, whatever her name is, didn't know who she was before that. Still don't really know who she is. I saw snippets of that movie. Not very impressed. Little Mermaid, I thought, was it Chloe? Is that her name?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I think it's her name. I thought she did a pretty decent job. Then again, I'm not a huge Disney fan. I'm not a huge Disney fan, like movies or the movies or anything. Some of the newer stuff, not too bad. Not too bad. But I'm not a huge fan of Disney. So whether they do the live adaptation of them, there's certain ones I really like. I love Lilo and Stitch. Love that one.
I can't wait for the Moana one. I want to see that one.
I am on the fence on that one still too. But at the same time, I do want to see it. I want to see how well they do it. I mean, it's great because you got The Rock, all he's doing is he's playing the same character, and he can sing the songs and everything like that. So I just want to see how they're able to put that all in. Halle Bailey. Is it Bailey?
Halle Berry.
Halle, what?
Yeah.
Halle Berry. What's Halle Berry? Monster Ball Halle Berry? It wasn't a Monster Ball. That would have been a completely different fish movie. Anyways, I want you to make me feel like a woman. Anyways,
That's got to be one of the top 10 things that I never expected to hear Tim say.
Oh, I'm so unapologetic about that one. Anyways, that's oh my god. So yeah, Monty, please, tell me more. I've got it because I'm very enthralled with this now.
So the other super low hanging fruit, which is I think is just people just being upset just because they're bigots, is the whole Helen of Troy being played by a black actress. There's not really much more to say than that. That's literally what people are upset about with this. And not much more to say on that. It's just a casting choice for that role. I don't think that one's nearly as problematic as a lot of the other ones. The Elliot Page one, I do kind of have a weird issue with. And it has nothing to do with the fact that the person's necessarily trans. Like, that's its own whatever conversation. Like, who cares? A role is a role. But when I look at Elliot Page, it's congratulations. They've made their transition, but they're still the stature and the body type that they are. When I think of the Odyssey and Odysseus and his men going on this journey, these are all burly fucking dudes. Elliot Page is a shrimp little stick. Okay, I don't see Elliot Page and see a badass warrior. I mean, they're like this fucking tall. Like,
you trying to say you like the deformed character on 300?
No, that's no. It's like
just a twig though. Just a twig though.
Yeah, you're supposed to go up against a giant cyclops. You're supposed to you're on an island fighting sirens and giants and stuff, and you have Tyrion Lannister running into the fray. I just don't get it.
Mace, he's not skinny, he's wiry. Okay? He's wiry.
So personally, that's where it just comes off a little weird for me, because we've seen other adaptations of the Odyssey, throughout history. We've also seen like the Iliad, which is the precursor to the Odyssey, which is the most recent rendition we've seen of that is Troy. And all the dudes in that movie, all the warriors look like stacked fucking warriors,
Yeah.
So that's just where it's like, for me, it's like, if I'm going to look at a badass like army of dudes just going out on this journey, like they got to be jacked, dude. Like, what, you spent how many years in Troy? They spent 10 years in Troy before they did the whole thing with the horse and then claimed victory, and then the war finally ended.
Yeah.
10 years of combat. These guys were stacked. Anyway,
I'm gonna need you to say pause in there every once in a while, because I mean, you're talking about guys. I want to see a bunch of jacked guys that are going out there and just getting it. Like, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I said this is the Birdman show, not Birdman After Dark. That's a whole different darkness. That's a whole different side, the dark side of the moon on that one. Jesus, bro. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, I don't want to sit there and watch, like it looks like a bunch of like schoolboys out there on the playground. I'm saying, oh, we're going to war. Yeah. Now if you want to see somebody go to war, I want to see somebody be able to get their head bashed in, by somebody, and it make it look realistic. Like, it's like having what was his name? Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone, that version of Macaulay Culkin, going against freaking what's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger's version of Conan. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Like,
that's not what. And then Macaulay Culkin, Kevin is beating up freaking Conan. Like that. Come on, that's not even realistic. Okay, CGI can't even make that stuff up. What about to say, Ms. D?
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I mean, and I'm looking. So I got my laptop pulled up, and I'm looking at the cast, and Lupita Nyong'o is a hell of an actress. And again, playing Helen de Troy, I honestly think that she's a badass actress. She's definitely got that almost like warrior sense to her. That I think, if people kind of open their minds a little bit and realize that not everything has to be about racial lines, she's probably gonna, rock the hell out of that role.
Yes.
I mean, and the same thing, like even with Zendaya playing Athena. Athena was the Greek goddess of war, home, and hearth. Okay.
What?
War, home, and hearth.
Oh yeah. You get a black girl in there to play that. That's cool. Anyway, go ahead. Well, I'm sorry. Oh, my bad.
But again, if you really want to look at there's a belief in the Greek gods system, gods and goddesses, especially, I'm polytheistic, so there is a belief system in that. But again, nobody truly knows what these gods and goddesses look like. Same thing with Christianity, same thing with, Islam, same thing with Buddhism. Like, we don't technically know what these deities look like. So I can't sit there and say how far-fetched it is to have somebody with any kind of ethnic background play these parts.
And that's my thing, is that unless you're talking about history where they actually had what it was, the history of like World War I or crap like that, where they're actually able to take pictures and stuff like that, we have no freaking clue what any of these people look like. We just don't. And even if you talk about the region that they were in, and this is, no, I want you to hear me out on this. If you talk about the region they were in, we don't know who was in those regions. We truly don't know who was in those regions at those times. Egypt could have been completely different. Africa could have been completely different. It could have had a completely different culture than what we think was there. We're just going by what's there right now and thinking that, that's what's always been. It may not have that, but it may not have been. So we really don't know. And that's the thing that gets me, is like, okay, so what if this director, or they have this vision of what they want to see with a movie, then they're gonna, to me, I'm like, hey, put the best actors and actresses in position to help make that movie, story, whatever, come to life. I don't care what color they are. Like I said before, I just want to know, can they act? Can they make me feel like I am transported back to that time? Except for if you're talking about something that has to do with slavery. What?
The fact that you were talking about like historical stuff, and I had scenes from the movie Roots go through my head, and then you come out with that particular comment.
Well, it could have been. It could have been like Django. I could have been talking about Django. Anyways,
Glory.
yeah, Glory. Yeah, there you go. There's another good one.
We'll just throw out some Blazing Saddles just to get that out there.
It could have been something like that. I'm just saying. I mean, I want to be transported back into a movie. Like I said, as less is talking about something that has to do with slavery or anything like that. Then I'm like, I'm good where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Yeah, I said that. I really did say that. All right, awesome.
Just to wrap it up real quick. So
yeah, go for it.
I can't help but dig into shit. That's just how I am, right?
Okay.
I understand that the internet is filled with a bunch of idiots, and they're all going to have weird whatever opinions that they're just angry for the sake of being angry. But so I'm thinking to myself, why did he choose this casting? Like, let me rationally make it make sense. And it's like I was telling you guys before, it's because of the Oscars. It's like the Oscars, in order to win Best Picture, you have to hit certain demographic metrics. And so he stacks his film with just the right people, stacks his production department with just the right demographics so that he can be eligible for an Oscar. And the reason why, like, I was thinking of this, it's like, I mean, if you look back at all of his other films, I mean, he's used a tremendous amount of white people historically, Christopher Nolan. So that's why it does feel a little jarring. And then I look back at his Oscar win for Oppenheimer, which kind of swept that year. And at the time, the requirements were different because you didn't, those requirements were for, he used the slots of the post-production behind the scenes, like marketing and costume design, stuff like that. He used those departments to kind of fill up those demographics. And then this time around, because they've altered and changed their requirements for Oscar nominations, that's why we're seeing these castings so much more in the forefront. So to me, that's kind of what makes the sense as far, and I think that they're all going to be great. I think the movie itself is going to still be really good. I mean, it's a Christopher Nolan film. He's really, really good about the casting choices he chooses regardless. It's one of the things he's really good with. He always chooses people that he thinks are proper for the role. So I do have faith in him as a director. But at the same time, though, I do know that he is one of those Hollywood elite that once he got that award, he wants more. So that's kind of what I think is him as a director, him as a filmmaker. That's truly what his end all game is he wants the Academy Awards season to once again come back in his favor. And so that's kind of where he's going with all of this. And then the interview process, I mean, it's just like with like Supergirl, with Snow White, like with a lot of these other ones that have controversial like castings or production decisions or whatever. These like he's not going to come out and say like, well, I want to win an Oscar. So this is because obviously it's going to be the worst possible thing that he could say. So of course he has to double down by his decision. So yeah, he's kind of in between a rock and a hard place. I do think critically it's going to review very well. And I think for the most part, it is a Nolan film. So people are going to get off of their case and they're going to watch it anyways, because it's, he's a good director.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. Ms. D, you have any thoughts? Any other thoughts on that?
No. My daughter actually made a comment and corrected me, and it is Hestia is home and hearth.
Okay.
Yep. So Athena is the goddess of reason. So that's. But yeah, my daughter was right. Well, that is one of her things. So she's warrior, justice, all of that.
Got the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should have picked somebody else other than Zendaya. Okay. I'm sorry.
But no, like I said, my 15-year-old just educated me, so I wanted to acknowledge that.
Okay. All right, all right. Ms. D, was there anything you wanted to bring up on, something for let's talk about a
Let's
topic?
talk about it.
Tag
Uh,
that.
I mean, I've been kind of a blank page lately.
Mhm.
Just kind of been putting my nose to the grindstone and working. I I had a rough start to my day today, and it just kind of
Kind of went from there.
went on and on from there. So I'm kind of a canvas. You throw out a topic, I'll have an opinion on it. So, even if I don't
Okay,
know much
right.
about it, I'll have an opinion on it. So, yeah, I'm a blank canvas tonight.
Okay. I have one. I'm trying to remember which is that the one I want to. Okay. Okay. So I'm asking this question. Let's talk. Let's jump over into war strategy. War strategy. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So let's start, let's talk about a little fun topic here. Okay. We're gonna do a little. Let's talk about a fun topic. Okay. We're gonna jump into relationships here. Okay. Now, when I ask these questions, we're gonna jump into the mindset of some of these can be jumped in the mindset of like, hey, you're in a relationship, like if you're in a committed relationship, like now where you're married, whatever. And then some we have to. I want you to kind of transfer yourself back into, let's say you're single, and now you're having to deal with this kind of stuff. Okay. So I'm gonna ask this question. All right. Okay. Whether you're dating somebody, you're married to somebody, whatever the thing is. What is one question or a question that you can ask your partner that is guaranteed to start an argument? I'm gonna read that again. This is for the audience as well. What is one question that you can ask that is guaranteed to start an argument with your significant other? I mean, I can go first if you want to.
Yeah, you go first. I got one, but I want to hear yours first.
You'll know it right as soon as I get to say it. One question is guaranteed to start almost always guaranteed to start an argument. Probably about 95 to 98% of the time, if not 100% of the time. So who's this? Looking at your phone. So who's this? Now, not everybody's experienced that. Not everybody's experienced that. And everybody's experienced that. Some people have experienced that in so many different multiple ways. But that's one of those questions that if you've been there and you know that feeling, whether you're wrong or you're not wrong, whether it's just whether it's just something else.
Why
You've
is
had that.
Pizza Hut texting you at 2 a.m?
Yeah. Pizza Hut. I thought they closed at midnight. Which Pizza Hut are you going to? Des just threw one in. Where does all your money go?
Remember, your money, my money. Thank you.
Yeah. Where's all your money going? Like, what are you talking about? My money. Where's your money going? So that's a good one, babe. That's a good one. What are your thoughts on those? What are your thoughts on those questions there, Miss D?
So, trying to transport my life back to my other ex-husbands.
Okay.
I could see those questions starting a massive fight. I am been very blessed to be married to Jeff, where we can literally ask each other anything. We can talk about anything. I mean, now some of you know, some of you don't. Several years ago, Jeff and I were separated for about 2.5 years. And it wasn't because we ever had a fight or an argument. It was things had become complicit and just same old, like so it wasn't caused by any fighting or arguing, because for the most part, Jeff and I never had that issue. the only time that he and I ever really kind of had an issue, we were having a discussion and became a heated discussion, not towards each other, but towards the situation that was happening.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
And
Got that.
and like I said, it wasn't towards each other, but and we were engaged at the time. And he turned around and he called me by his ex-wife's name.
Ooh.
It was a complete slip. Because that was part of our conversation.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And
So
I
the ex-wife
kind
was
of,
part of the conversation.
right. So
Okay.
I just kind of turned around and gave him that death stare and flat out told him, don't you ever call me by her name again. And it's never happened since.
Oh, wow.
But now, mind you, just to give a little more context to that, from mine and Jeff's first date to the day we got married was only 5 months. So, there's that. So, we're still kind of learning each other
Yeah.
and
Right.
figuring each other out at that time. But yeah, it was, like I said, it got pretty heated pretty quick, but not, like I said, not towards each other. It was towards the situation that we were
Mhm.
going through. And it was just one of those things because she had everything to do with the conversation.
Right.
It
So,
wasn't on purpose. It wasn't comparing. It wasn't,
right.
anything like that.
Now I have done that before. I've done that personally. I've done that before. And it was with an ex. But their names were similar.
Mhm.
So they're very similar. And they kind of had a lot of the same features, I guess you could say. We won't get into anything like that. But anyways, it's so, and once again, it happened to be in one of those, just like kind of like what you were talking about. The only difference where we weren't really talking about an ex per se, but she'd said something and she did it. She had done it a couple times before that. I told her, hey, don't do that. And the reason why is because my ex, the ex that was in mention was she had said that quite a few times. It was something used to tick me off, and I told her about that. I told her exactly what it was. And sometimes she would do that just to kind of be funny, thinking she's getting under my skin. And so she happened to do it that particular time, and in the discussion, I felt like I was at that point in time. I felt like I was arguing with the ex, and so she said something, and I called her by the other girl's name, and she just looked at me like, "What did you just call me?" I was like, crap. So that actually turned into a full blown argument. And it was like,
I
whatever.
kind of actually want to ask Jeff that question.
Oh boy.
Jeffrey, come hither.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh no, because I am kind of curious because, like I said, really for several years, like we had never had an argument.
Mm-hmm.
So I am kind of curious now. to so I'm gonna have Tim ask you the question because I am kind of curious to your answer.
Okay, so the question was, what is a question that is guaranteed to start an argument in a relationship?
I have no idea.
Like no, because like I said, it's one of
answer,
those
Jeff.
things. We don't argue.
Right.
We're very blessed in that fact that we don't argue. We talk about things, and nothing is off the table in our conversations, but we also
Right.
have a trust with each other. I can hand him my phone right this moment. He can go through my entire phone.
Well,
Same way. I mean, we know each other's passwords into our phones.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't secrets like that. So there's really no cannon fodder. So I think that in its own right is fairly controversial because a lot of people don't experience that.
That is very true. That's very true. Mace, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my answer to that question is, what do you want for dinner? Um,
All right, that one I can get behind.
yeah,
Yeah.
and here the context behind that is, I'm the one that does all the cooking, right? So
Uh-huh.
because of that, I tend to structure the day around that.
Yeah, I got
And
you.
the missus eats very differently from the rest of us because she's exclusively vegetarian. Me, I eat relatively kosher, but I still eat meat. So I just don't eat like pork and shellfish stuff. So we all kind of like have dietary needs, right? So I try, but because hers are so much more exclusive than me and the boys, I have to kind of plan what we're going to eat based upon what she wants to eat.
Yeah.
That way, it's like I can somewhat overlap it, so it's kind of cohesive. So, given said that, another thing is time management, because I structure the day like we have certain things we do around the day and for any given day, because the whole homeschool thing. And then on top of it, I need to pre-plan meals ahead of time so I at least have an idea of what we're doing. So for me, it's a time management thing. So
Makes sense.
I will admit that for me, coming from me, it becomes relatively repetitive because I'm like, hey, no rush, no pressure, hurry the fuck up. What do you want to eat? Like, I need to know. And so, no rush. I'll come back 20 minutes later, like, yo, I mean, come on, help me out here. And then that eventually can spiral because it's like, I can't make your decisions for you,
Right.
But then at the same time, because I am the one that cooks, I need to at least to be able to offer some sort of something,
Right.
like give her an idea, like work with her, which I'm not super good with. I'd rather just be told than instead of coming up with it. But
Right.
yeah, that is a conversation that can tend to,
I feel that. And I'm kind of the same thing with time management and planning stuff. I don't like going into something not having a plan, and then having to try to come up with stuff at the last minute. I truly despise that. I just really hate that whole situation. Just because you never know what's going to happen. It's good to go ahead and plan things out, even if you're doing like a surprise type thing. It's good to still have things planned out, because then if you don't, then if one thing doesn't work out, you have absolutely no idea what you're doing next. So I absolutely hate it, but it is what it is. But I was actually laughing at Tab's comment, and her comment was, the question for her that starts a war is, when are your adult children going to grow up? Yeah. Oh my god, that is a war question, not an argument question. That is a war question. Oh my, that's hilarious though. That is hilarious though. What they say? They say we are lucky in that aspect. We don't argue really anymore. Just a lot of discussions because we have learned each other's trauma to be able to talk it out, which is true. And a lot of arguments, even with Des and I, since she brought it up, a lot of our arguments were a lot of because of some past trauma on both sides. But there was just certain conversations, certain topics that would kind of set things off more so than what they probably should have. But because of past situations, past issues, those that could have been and should have been discussions turned into full blown arguments. Now my thing is this: you can almost, and I've told her this, I've told anybody in my past, you can almost say anything you want to me and almost get away with it without me really addressing it or making it a competitive situation. Almost anything. My biggest issue is your attitude when you address me. That's my biggest thing. Like that's one thing. If you want, it's not so much your words that will start an argument with me. It's your freaking attitude. I will not tolerate that. You know what I'm saying? And Dez is on here. There have been times where I ask her a question, simple question, and she answers it with an attitude, and I'll stop exactly whatever I'm doing. I look at her as like, "What's your problem?" You know what I'm saying? And it could be so. And of course, she'll lie. Oh, there's nothing wrong. I'm not. There's no problem. Blah blah. She lies. She does that. I get it because in a lot of cases, it's not so much there's an issue with us. It's that maybe she's dealing with something else, and it's bothering her. So instead of saying something to me, because she always seems to think that she's always putting more on my plate than I can handle, which is I'm starting to learn that's damn near impossible now. But you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where, sometimes, and I've done this with her, sometimes I feel like what I am whether maybe was something that is bothering me or I'm upset about, to me, I know it's trivial. I know it's not something I should be upset about, but it is bothering me. So then I get mad at myself because I let that thing get me upset. And because that thing's got me upset, now I'm acting, not feeling a certain way towards her, but I'm acting a certain way towards her, and which throws lanes off. And she's right. We've gotten a lot better when it comes to that. That's part of being in a relationship, now marriage, and you're trying to figure each other out because whether you like it or not, dating someone is 100,000% different than being married to someone. I mean, because here's the truth: if we were just dating, I can walk away at any point in time. She can walk away at any point in time, and there's nothing that really holds you guys together, right? You know, so you say, well, we have kids, yeah, and some people do that, but then still, even with that, you can still walk away. It is what it is. But when you're married to somebody, that's a process. It's a process. Sometimes it goes through very cleanly. Sometimes it don't go so very clean. So it's something you really got to think about. If you're like, man, do I really want to leave? Because especially if you have assets and money, you're like, dang, do I really want to leave this girl? Because you're talking about half. And listen, let me tell you something. $500 million, it hurt. It still stings, right? But you still got, you know what I'm saying, $500 million, right? But if I only have $1 and I gotta give you half of that, I'm gonna be very salty about that 50 cents I just had to give up. I use a huge comparison, as in just to make a point. Like you may think you have money, but if you ain't got like Bill Gates or freaking Elon Musk type money, and you talking about having to give, yeah, you might be very upset about having to give half, but bro, you still filthy freaking rich. You know what I'm saying? And my little 30,000, how I don't even know how much I actually make a year, but whatever my little money, my chunk of change is, I'm gonna be very upset if I have to give up half of anything that I got. I'm gonna be like, hey, listen, you know what I'm saying? We just, instead of getting this divorce, I'm just gonna go sleep in the guest room. You know what I'm saying? Or heck, I'll spend most of my time, whatever. You do you, I do me. Let's just do that way. But yeah, all that stuff is great. That one right there though, Tabs. That one is that's because you got to think about it. How many blended families are out there, especially now? And there's a lot of times there's an issue, with parents. When you talk about bringing somebody else into a relationship, and that's one thing. And that's one thing Des and I we've talked about extensively. Because she has her daughter, who lived with us for a little while, and I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of tension there because I'm on the outside. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You're bringing somebody from the outside of the situation, the relationship, the family ship, right? And you bring somebody in to where they actually have the outside eye looking in, and they might see things that go on within that dynamic of that relationship. It's like, yo, wait a minute. The reason why your relationship with your kids not working is because you won't do this or you keep doing this in the situation, and so that can cause a lot of issues with blended families, because you might have somebody who actually who comes into the family who's a disciplinarian, and the other person is just basically almost trying to be the kid's best friend, and then the other person's like, wait, why are you, and then it starts an issue with all that stuff. So it's tough. I'm telling you, man, blended families, it's a tough thing to navigate through. And the fact that I commend parents, the women and the men who do this, because it takes a lot to try to balance that fine line when you bring somebody else into the family like that. Is there any other ones you guys want to bring up, or is there anything you want to talk about when it came to the other questions? Like, is there any other questions you want to throw out there as well?
So you kind of brought something up that kind of tickled a little something.
Oh boy, we're tickling around here. Tickle me elmo.
Not quite.
Yeah, okay.
But the whole thing about like, all right, this is where my political side gets involved. Yeah. And y'all know I don't get very political on here ever.
All right. Uh-huh.
But again, my thing with the entitlement of let's say we're gonna say the lower class. Okay. We're gonna put this in class and call it classism if you want.
All right.
Versus people who are more well off. They're like, that saying of, well, Elon Musk is what, he's a trillionaire now. He's like the first trillionaire, whatever. So he's got all this money. So why don't I have any of that money? Did you work for it? What did you do to earn that kind of money? Regardless of how you feel about the elites, if they worked for it, who the hell are we to say we're entitled to any of it?
Now, when you're saying that, are you referring to like the taxes?
No, see, I've always been very firm that we should have a flat tax. Does not matter if you make $1 trillion, doesn't matter if you make $5, like 20% across the board. And for every person, it's going to be a different number because we all earn different amounts. But just doing a flat tax, I think, would solve all of that problems. So no, I do, but then again, I also think taxation is theft, but that's beside the point.
That's because it is.
Well, yes.
They're supposed to be taxed.
And then you spend the money that's been taxed on other things, and then you're paying tax on that. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, I mean, for somebody to sit there and say, oh, well, you make 6 figures a year, you should help me out because I don't make that kind of money. That bothers me. That sense of entitlement of, well, you're making it, so why don't you help me out here and give me some of that? Well, what did you do to earn it?
Yeah, I mean, in that sense, when you talk about something like that, I don't understand why somebody, and I'm pretty sure there are people out there that are saying exactly what you just said. I don't understand why you would say that. Like, if you don't have, I guess it's not so much really about the education. There's plenty of people who don't have the education, have degrees, who've had great ideas and have the work ethic to accomplish where they're at and get to where they're at with things that never had, never ever possessed a degree or even dropped out of high school. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of millionaires and billionaires out there that have reached that status, and they did it solely off of hard work. So that part, yeah, I'm 100% behind. Like I said, my thing has always been, when it came to that, when it comes to especially talking about taxes and stuff like that, it's always been the fact that there's really no way to truly course correct what the government has screwed up. Like I said, income tax was never a thing. And we probably wouldn't have had this issue until they started putting all these other things in place. The National Reserve, the banks and all that other stuff. When that system got put in, is when the true American people really started getting screwed over. And we basically started getting robbed. The IRS, 100% a fraud. As far as everything they're doing, because there's absolutely no law in place that actually supports that and them being and what they're trying to do. There's so many different other systems, court systems that are in place. Family court's a big one. That's in place that is really, really, truly set in stone for, or set around just robbing and breaking up the families, modern day families, because it incentivizes people, men or women, because there's a lot of men They get those same type of benefits, and the women are the one paying for the children and the husband and all that stuff. As there is, I mean, yes, it's a little disproportionate towards men, but it is what it is. That's how it's been. But at the same time, I guess my problem with that was, unless there's some type of circumstances saying that there was, some type of abuse, whatever, it's always should be 50-50 with that. And it should never be, one person is basically paying for everything for not only that child, but basically what it comes down to a lot of times, it does support the lifestyle of that mother. Now, the ones that are actually using it correctly and doing it right, I 100% support them. It's the ones that we see on social media that are making the rest of them look bad with the system. That's where I get irritated. I'm not one of those ones say, "Oh, well, I got you. I shouldn't have to pay for this." No, that is not the message I'm sending. What I'm sending is, we need to cut those ones off that are not doing things properly. And the system needs to be. It doesn't need to be reformed. It needs to be completely thrown out. It wasn't there before.
Yes.
So it was never there before. It got used because it was put in place to help out with certain things. But then once the states and the government seen how much money they could make from that and they could profit off of it, it became more of a cash cow. If you really look at the history when it comes to talking about taxes, when you talk about the IRS, when you talk about the family court system, when it comes to dealing with divorce and the children and stuff like that, it's 100% a cash cow for the states and the government. Mainly more of the states, I think more so the states. But it's a cash cow. You know what I'm saying?
And
It's $1
without
billion.
regulation, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, no, and that's the
are
thing,
we-
no regulation.
well, and
It's a $1
how
billion
up to
increase.
only a couple years ago? I mean, I think it's more like 20 years now, when they put a cap on the age of the children
Mhm.
that you have to get assistance. But how
Mhm.
many people sat around and be like, "Oh, well, last kid's gonna be 5 years old. Looks like it's time to pop out another one."
Those are the
You
ones that really
know,
get me. Those are the
there
ones that
are
really get me.
right. There are people who have literally made it their job to live off of assistance. They've made a career out of it. And that's not what that was designed for.
No.
Yeah.
And I look at I'll use myself as a perfect example, without going into a whole bunch of details.
Mhm.
I could have one kid, right?
Mhm.
And I'm getting absolutely slammed by the system because the mother of that child is pretty much basically going after me for everything, right? I can get slammed. You know what that does if I have any other children? That completely eliminate or limits me and my ability to do anything else for my other children. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have to literally go out and like basically bust my back, break my back working multiple jobs, having to work multiple jobs in order to even to remotely, number one, support the first one. I'm getting completely railroaded over. And then if I have any other children, which I do, but if I have any other children, then now I'm in a situation where, and then talk about, I got a family now. I'm remarried. And I got a family now. I'm trying to take care of them and trying to do whatever I can to take care of my other children. I can't. Then you throw into the simple fact is, like I said, now like I say, if you take somebody like me, because of the injuries I've accrued over the years through the military, and those surgeries, the amount of surgeries I've already had, and I still have to go through. I can't. There's no way I'm really gonna be able to get a job to ever support my children the way I believe they deserve to be supported. So then what does that do? It's a cycle that then feeds back into now. If I have depression, if I have anxiety, if all these other things are going on, that makes those things just it's a never ending cycle, and they become larger and larger. And it's one of those things where you never ever, like, I never, and like I said, I don't know if Team Bird's on here or whatever. When it comes to my other children, any of my children, I never want them to ever think that I would never do anything. I would never do anything for them. You know what I'm saying? I love my kids, and if I could hold the world in my hand and give it to them, I most definitely would. But it's like one of those things where I get so sometimes I just get so depressed when it comes to things because I think about my family, man. It's like, man, I can't do certain things. And the reason why I can't do certain things because it might just because of be one person that is actually holding up that train. That if I had the full ability, the full how do I say the full keys to the vault of the resources that I actually have, then if I was able to take all that and distribute that amongst my kids, I would feel then I'm like, now I feel like I am doing what I should be doing as a father for my children because I can give them other things. But it's not. But one thing everybody has to understand, it's not about the materials either. It's not about the material things. It's about being able to be able to be present. And then you talk. Listen, there's so many different things when it comes to this stuff in the family court system. We might need to do an episode on that because there's a lot of reasons why I just feel that it destroys the family nucleus, and it has been because they've used it as a cash cow for them. And like I said, I have to find it, but at one point in time, I looked up the numbers for what it actually was as far as, like I said, dealing with Texas, because Texas is whatever, but dealing for Texas and what they actually get, the money that the state gets per dollar of like something like child support, something like that is spent, will blow your mind.
Oh, it's a business. It's not there for families or children whatsoever. And here's the other thing too, is now you have the means to have one, maybe two or more children. But then the government will sit there and tell you, oh, well, we're not covering birth control. We're not covering women's health as far as sterilization or whatnot, because conception is the start of life. But now you've got to financially take care of that, even though we're telling you that you can't prevent it, but
right.
now you have to take care of it.
Wow.
How does that work?
All right, here's the thing. I was quiet long enough. I'm going to chime in.
Yes.
It seems like macro, the system is broken. But the system, just as both of you have described, is working as intended by the right and by the left. It's all illusionary. They're all the same team. They're all working in opposition from our perspective to funnel us down a particular path. And part of that path is us being divided. Look at this conversation, how it's gone. And we've been so individualistic on pointing out our perceptions on these things and how they relate to other people. But look at the macro, look at the system as a whole. Who is the biggest welfare recipient in the country? Not individuals, not families, not people, corporations. SpaceX, as a prime example, has gotten tons and tons of subsidies from the US government, which is from the taxpayer, from us, right? So the government loves to take our tax money and then give it to their friends in their corporate spaces. I mean, look at all the data center stuff and like NV Energy out here in Nevada. They're subsidizing all of these other corporate entities. They subsidize the casinos out here in Las Vegas. They subsidize the data centers. Guess who pays the extra electric bill? Every single year, we use less and less electricity, but our bill almost doubles every single year. It's $500 a month now for electricity in the summertime out here for me. That's pretty insane. But do you know why? Because we are paying the consumer, the real estate, or residential consumers are paying for industrial and for commercial subsidies. So corporations don't have to pay as much electricity, but NV Energy, they're publicly traded. They need to have their stock ticker go up. So they need to be showing a profit. So how do they take care of that subsidy? They charge the little man even more. So they charge us the difference for the subsidies of the corporations. And it's like that full scale for everything. Who's some of the biggest components in Congress when it comes to lobbying for things like food assistance and SNAP? Grocery stores, Walmart. They love that system because if they can have huge amounts of employees that also need to be on like some sort of cash assistance or food assistance that can only exclusively be used at a grocery store, their own employees that they don't have to pay an actual proper wage then come funneling back in to pay with that government welfare back into the system. So when you actually look out at the big macro scale of how all of these systems interconnected work, and you actually follow the money of where it actually goes, comes from our pocket back into the government, and so the government can circle it around with them and their friends. Okay, look at NGOs, non-government agencies. That's just another way for government to take their family and friends, put them into an organization, funnel a bunch of tax dollars into it. Hell, look at USAID, right? A lot of that was our tax dollars thrown into a system where it was consulting fees and administrative costs, but the actual mission of the non-government agency or working with whatever community they were claiming to work with, hardly any of that money actually goes into the community. Hardly any of the funds actually go towards the mission accomplishment. It's just funneled up and eaten up in administrative costs. That's like the big picture that we're all distracted from, that we don't actually look at because we're all dealing with our own individual issues. And so we point the finger at one another because it's easier to point the finger at one another than to point the finger at the big bad guy.
This is very true. These are all some freaking good facts there.
And I'm not saying that the things that we talk about aren't real. They are. They are.
Yeah.
You can break it down and make it make sense from any perspective. But that's the point. We talk about real, tangible things that we can break down the math on and point the finger at each other. And they're both legitimate from either perspective. But that's the point, to keep us distracted with each other and ignore what they're doing.
It's basically the definition of string theory.
That's an interesting point. I like where you went with that. I like a lot. Okay. All right. Wow. This has been interesting. We have really
Everything's
had a
alive.
wide. And you know what? That's the crazy thing about it is, and you brought that up earlier when you talked about the narrative of everything. We have to understand, as a nation, we've been spun many, many different tales.
We all have one enemy, and his name is Uncle Sam.
Yeah, well, he's got more than just that. That name, or nationality. Anyways, we've all been spun a different tale, but it's the same tale told by the same people, but it's catered to different people. You know what I'm saying? Like, it caters, different demographics, different classes, just different people in general. But it's the same people telling the story. They're just telling you a different story. I mean, how is it that you can sit there and look at something where you look at something where it's, I don't know, like if you talk about a different culture and you hear a story about something, it's like it's the exact same story, but the characters may change a little bit. How the thick of the story was different in this situation, but it came down to the same outcome, but how it was different. It's fascinating to me. I think what's really fascinating to me, like I say, when you talk about different things, especially when it comes to cultures, once again, when you can have something that is over in Southeast Asia, right? And you're here in America, and then you hear somebody who or you're watching something that's talking about that same thing. It's like, wait a minute, we have that same thing here. Like, what that story you're talking about? No, that's not how that story is. No, this is how the true story is. But we don't know what the true stories are when it comes to anything. And if you're talking about the things that are going on today's day and age, we 100% don't know the truth. We only know what the information they give us.
Well, I've said it before too, like, even say the three of us, we're all witnessing the same thing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Truth is still subjective.
Yes.
Because even though we're witnessing it at the same time, we're seeing the same thing, we're doing the same thing. Truth, my truth may not be your truth may not be Mace's truth. Truth is very, very subjective.
Mhm.
And that's why facts aren't real. Because a fact is three or more people stating one thing as truth.
What's a fact?
The devil's in the detail, and the details are how we divide each other.
Exactly. So, I mean, the truth in its own right is a very subjective thing. It's not finite. It's not, this is black, this is pink. You could be seeing it in a completely different shade. Doesn't change the fact that it's still my Apple Watch. But again,
Oh, okay. I wasn't looking at
it's
what you were saying.
subjective.
I wasn't looking at what you were saying, and my mind was.
I was holding up my
Minute
Apple
mark.
Watch for those of you that are listening to the podcast.
I was listening. I just wasn't watching. That was part of the problem.
Oh Lord!
Again, the truth is subjective depending on how you take in the information. You just proved my point, Tim.
I didn't even say that. I just the thought was like, oh wait, what? That's interesting color palette there. Sorry.
Wow.
It's been a long day. Anyways, no, I 100% agree. That I really do. I 100% agree with that. It's just like I said, a lot of the stuff that we talk about and things we're seeing, all that stuff. It's just it really is frustrating. And it's frustrating because a lot of things, and I mean a lot of things, could be so much better for everyone. If we did something just as simple as truly looking out and caring for our fellow man. When I say fellow man, I'm not just talking about men, of course. People, there's always gonna be that one person. You can say the fellow man, not the fellow woman. What about the fellow women? Shut up. Anyways,
It was like what was it during one of the political things? Amen and a woman.
yeah,
What?
yeah, right. Yeah, I've
Just
seen that. I was
stop
like,
talking.
wait, what? What are you talking about? Like, oh yeah. Or when you hear brethren,
Yeah.
brethren is not just it's not a male thing. It's brethren is talking about
The congregation.
yeah,
as
the
a whole.
congregation as a whole. I've heard somebody say that to me before, like, oh my god, I can't believe this church is so sexist. Like, wait, what are you talking about? They always saying amen, like, saying or brethren and this and that, and like what about the sisterin? First of all, sisterin is not a word.
Well, cistern is, but it's
cistern,
not what you think it is.
no, that's not what we're talking about here.
No.
So like you're an idiot. Shut up. Anyways, so yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I said, it's just all this stuff is. I kind of hate continuing to use fascinating, but it really actually is. When you really think about it, and you look at it as a whole, a lot of the stuff is fascinating because it's like, wow, this is something that we are dealing with real time. And it's just hard to think and fathom that this is. I can't say our reality because even our reality is false. Because 100%, and what boils down to the fact is we don't have the real information. We just don't have the real information. Sorry, as you see a freaking gnat going across my face. Anyways, we just don't have. That should be a topic. Gnats make you look crazy. Sorry. Side note, squirrel. But the fact is we don't have the true information. And a lot of stuff that we base any opinion off of, number one, 100% comes off of our environment, what we're around, what we're exposed to, how we were raised. And in those situations, you have to be careful in what you sit there. And I can give you a perfect example that we had a situation with the basketball league I coach in. I had just got named commissioner of that basketball league. And there was a situation that happened with a player and that player's organization. Now we had a meeting about all of that with the player and the organization, right? Player was in part of the meeting. The organizational head was part of the meeting as well, in which the issues that were being addressed said, hey, listen, if there are any more, if there's any more issues, you know what I'm saying, if you are involved in anything else, you're done. Right? So the player and the organization agreed. We're not going to have any other issues. Problem was there was 2 more issues that happened. Technically 3. Well, no, sorry, no, just 2. 2 more instances that happened. One that involved the player and the other one that involved the organization. And so when those 2 things happen, no, I guess it was 3. So when the first 2 things happened, we're like, listen, okay, this is it. Okay. This is what we're doing. All right. And so, you know, we're trying to make it through the season without having to do any of this stuff. Well, then one more incident happened with that player, and it was just, you couldn't ignore it. And the reason why you couldn't ignore it, because I was in attendance of that game and I saw firsthand what happened. And so I waited a little bit to get more information, because unlike some people, I don't just jump off, spewing off and not having more than enough information to make any type of decision. And I waited. We signed it. We dealt with it. We talked to the people. So then we carried out what we said we were going to do. Now, from that player, of course, did not like that and went on a complete campaign of saying, "Oh, this is wrong. They're just trying to do this. They're trying to do that." And the fact that other people were jumping in and saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe they did that to you." Da da da. But they didn't have the information, because the player was not divulging the fact that he agreed that if he was involved in anything else, that he would be done. And that's how a lot of this stuff happens, is that you get people out there and they're not even telling a half truth. You know what I'm saying? They're telling like maybe a 1/10 of a truth. Or maybe it's one word that's actually true, and then they jumble it up with a bunch of other BS. So a lot of times that's what happens with us. And I say us, I mean, like, I'm looking at our country right now, and the disinformation that goes out from this country and that comes in is just astounding to me. Like, a lot of the stuff and I hear people talking about this stuff. A lot of stuff you realize you can actually fact check on your own. You could pull this little thing up. It's called a phone, or a tablet, or laptop, or desktop, or something. You can pull something up like that and actually fact check everything that these people are lying to us about, and actually show in real time, you just lied to me. Like, that's what gets me, is that people don't even, at times we're so lazy that we don't even say, you know what, I'm actually going to look this up real quick, make sure what you're saying is actually true. It's just, I don't know. It's just the cattle and the sheep thing is just, it's really real. Mace, you have anything else you want to say before we get up out of here?
Oh, well, on that note, we have the whole court case going on with the Kirk assassin.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my God, dude.
Oh,
Go
I
ahead.
haven't been following.
And the thing that gets me is that there are so many people that have still bought the Kool-Aid that's how that particular event went down. And it's like, but that's who they're doing this for, the people that don't pay attention, because those are the masses. The vast majority of people in the country that heard about it didn't bother looking into it. They're like, oh, that's the official story, okay.
Nothing about that story, nothing about the whole situation, number one, even remotely makes sense. And when we talk about Tyler Robinson and everything else like that, there's so much stuff that 100% just does not support anything that the prosecution is trying to put out there. There's a lot of things that just don't make sense. Well, they make sense, but the fact that how they're trying to portray it, like, I think Rain, my granddaughter, I think she can come up with a better story that is probably more believable. And she's 3. She can barely talk. I mean, she's talking, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about like really making coherent sentences. Sometimes she does. Other times it's like, what? Like I have to go get Rosetta Stone or Babel to try to figure out the heck this child just said. It sounds like freaking Greek. Anyways, yeah, I'm right there with you on that. Miss D.
I mean, the only thing that I can add is, look out for each other. Because we're all that we have in this world. So just be good to yourself first, because you cannot drive a car with an empty tank. So be good to yourself first, and then help those that are within your circle. Find your tribe.
You can technically drive a car with an empty tank if you're on a hill.
Well, I mean, you can steer it, but are you driving?
Technically, I mean, you're driving it. You're driving it. I mean, you're moving. You know what I'm saying? I mean, or if you got like it could be an electric car. So I mean, kind of what tank are we talking about here? Anyways,
Can't pour from an empty cup, Tim.
My bad. Sorry. No, I agree with both statements. The truth of the matter is, when we talk about this, the real truth of the matter is it's very simple. We have to start doing a better job of becoming more informed. I have, and I'm going to talk about myself. I have made plenty of decisions in my past and some in my present where I've made a decision and I didn't make the decision based on the information that I actually should have gotten. It's basically just off of maybe one or two words or maybe a sentence or two or a conversation. And now I'm out here, and I've made a dumb decision based off of stuff like that. Instead of just saying, you know what, let me calm down. Let me go talk to the source. Let me go talk to this person. Let me look up some things before I actually make a decision. Before I just go off and just make a stupid decision. And one thing I've been trying my best to do in my own personal walk, my own personal life with everything, not worrying about anybody else's. I try not to make decisions based off of past situations, even past people. I try not to base any decision off of that. And the reason why is because, number one, there's a different time and a different headspace for not only myself, but even that person that I might be upset with. It's a different time and different headspace for that. So I try not to do that. That's number one. And I try to trust myself in the fact that the work I've put in to become better, I try to trust in that work that I've put in. And I try to really lean into that and say, you know what, I'm a better person. I am in a better space. So don't let me slip. Let's not slip back into that mind frame or thinking that just because another issue pops up, I haven't done anything. I haven't improved. I try not to do that and understand something. Some people just don't want to believe that you're in a different space. That happens. And it's okay because they may not be in that same space either. So it's fine. You can't hold that against them. You know what I'm saying? In whatever situation. And when I'm thinking about this, I'm really thinking about every situation, every issue that my father and I had with each other. And a lot of it was just simply because we were pretty much a carbon copy of each other. So when things happened, we looked at each other as the same person. And so we reacted because in my head, I'm reacting this way because I already know what he's going to say because that's what I would say. Or I already know what he's going to do because that's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? So there were times I didn't trust in the work I put in. There were times I didn't trust in where I was mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I didn't trust it because of who I was talking to. And I'm glad we both fixed that before any of this came up, before he passed away. Because you got to understand something. You can hold a grudge and be mad at somebody, but you have no idea. I think we might have said this before. If we haven't, you have no idea. We can get off this podcast right now. As soon as I hit in stream, one of us could expire right now. But we don't know. we have no idea. We don't know when it's our time. And so that's why I'm trying to be on this campaign of anything that's going on in my life and past people or anything like that. I'm trying my best to make amends, make it right. Not because I feel like, oh my God, no, it's just simply because we waste so much time being angry about stuff that number one, we're never going to be able to change. And you waste so much time of holding grudges against people when sometimes you don't realize they've moved on past that a long time ago. And like I said, with my father and I, like I said, I'm speaking him on, my father and the lessons that I learned from him in life and now in death is that at the end of the day, none of that stuff really matters. Especially when it comes to family, people you actually truly say you care about. None of that stuff really actually matters. What matters is the fact that if they come to you and they ask you for forgiveness, what matters is if you accept it or not. Not say, oh, I forgive you. Do you really truly accept it? If you can't, you can't. It's fine. It's okay. I promise you it's okay. But you do need to try to work towards it. So like I said, that's my little spill on my ghetto take of Buddha, and what the Dalai Lama might say if they're here to talk to us.
Dalai Lama was in the Epstein files.
God dang it, yeah, he was. I do remember hearing that. But forget the Dalai Lama. I got a mall deli here. Anyways,
we can't have anything nice in this world anymore.
Like Jesus, man, I can't quote the Dalai Lama anymore. What the freak? What the? I swear, I'll tell you right now. If Epstein, if you are listening to this, if your name pops up, or every time your name is said, it pops up on a flag, I swear to freaking God, you better be dead. Because if I see you, you've taken everything from me. You've taken everything from me. All people I've loved and deared. I've loved all these years. I've quoted stuff like Dalai Lama and people like that. Same thing with Diddy. Diddy, I swear to God, you better stay in that. You better stay in that jail, bro. I'm telling you, better stay. After what I heard during the trial and everything, bro, you best stay in there. Woo, you best stay in there. Oh my God. Oh, I just can't say stuff without saying either I can't. I now have to follow everything up with no Diddy or no Epstein or something like that. Like
no Llama.
I can't. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like this is just too much, man. My heart can't take much more. Oh God, I'm hurt. Anyways, y'all, I appreciate y'all. I really do. I appreciate my co-hosts. I appreciate everybody who tunes in to watch us and the craziness. I do appreciate everybody's patience. As like I said, this has been a trying time, but this is also an escape for me as well. Because I can take my mind off of things, and I can generally have an actual laugh with some really good friends who I consider family. Not just my co-hosts, but everybody out here watching. And interacting with us. You guys are, my extended family, and I appreciate and love every last one of y'all for real. But yes, you guys have been phenomenal. So yeah, this week is gonna be pretty tough. Next week is gonna be probably 1,000 times tougher. The funeral is set for the 18th. So please definitely keep me in your prayers. As we move closer to closing this chapter. But I know we'll be fine because we have great people in our lives. And I'm speaking for myself. I have great people in my life. So I appreciate you guys. Like I said, my co-host, Ms. D sent me a very beautiful video before the show started. And there's something I really needed, and I do appreciate that very, very much. But I absolutely love that song. That song is one of my favorites. So I do appreciate that. And you singing that for me. It was awesome. So thank you very much. And of course, Mace bringing the comedy, like always. Love hearing him go off on rants on anything's conspiracy. It's just fun.
Everything's a lie.
It is a lie. It is 100% a lie. Except
I'll tell you what is not a lie. That flyer of the bishop. Woo! That was pretty cool looking.
Yeah, wasn't it though? Yeah, my brother did a great job. We talked about that, and we worked at it quite a bit because we wanted to make sure it was classy. And want to make sure there was something that my dad definitely would have loved. So that was phenomenal. And that aspect. So yeah, great job. Good job. Teamwork makes the dream work. So yeah, hey, let's get out of here. Like I said, I love you guys so very, very, very much. You guys are awesome. So thank you guys very, very much. Are we back Monday?
We still haven't done the
Production meeting.
meeting yet. So we'll get back to people on that. Again, right now, timelines are kind of a little all over the
Little
place.
off, yeah.
And, we just want you to take the time that you need and not feel rushed into anything. I know this can
No.
be an escape for you, but at the same time, let it be an escape without being overwhelming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
And I
follow
just
the
appreciate
lead.
it. I know, and I always appreciate that. So here's what we'll do. How about we do this? Okay, let's set in stone. 6:00 Monday. We'll get together and do the production meeting.
Okay.
I am going to say this. We're not. I don't think I could do an episode next Wednesday. With it being that close to the funeral, so I'm just going to tell everybody that now. We're not going to have an episode next Wednesday. Because I am going to probably need to fully concentrate on that. Just so I can try to help keep things together. I'm trying to reserve my full breakdown until afterwards. So that's been draining. It's pretty draining from that, but still holding up, still holding strong. Not slipping mentally or anything like that. So yeah. So let's just go ahead and shoot for that. We'll do the production meeting Monday. I think that would be a good idea to do that then, and then we'll hold off on the episode Wednesday. Where are we at actually on the episodes for?
I don't even have my notebook right now because it was just kind of get in. I will send you the list
Oh yeah,
afterwards.
Okay, and then yes, thanks, babe, for putting that in there. And there won't be an episode the 20th. So that following Monday, there will not be an episode because that's when we're actually going to bury him because he's being buried at the National Cemetery, and they can only do that Monday through Friday.
Mhm.
So, and it's around 1:30. I'm not going to be I'll be in a mood. I just don't know what mood it'll be in. So we'll just hold off on doing that episode then. So, yeah. So okay, that's good. I think it's good. It's a good stop place. Good space to stop in. So yeah, okay. Well, like I said, everybody, we love you guys so very much. No episode on Monday for Conspiracy Files. We'll be doing our production meeting, and then no episode of the Birdman Show next Wednesday. So we'll actually be back 2 weeks from for the Birdman Show 2 weeks from today. At the very least. We'll be back 2 weeks from today. So like I said, thank you guys for your patience and everything. I really do truly appreciate it. And I know that's what family does, but it still doesn't need to go without being said. So I appreciate it. So for Miss D, for Mace Valor, for Bambi in her absence, for Deathlight, and even my main man Ace, we really appreciate you guys. Love you guys so very much. Make sure you take care of yourselves before you try to take care of anyone else. Always put your mask on before helping someone else. She breathe. I might actually take your mask too. Anyways,
It's natural selection. It's okay.
there. Anyways, thank you guys so very much for joining us. We love you guys so very much. I am the Birdman. This is the Birdman Show. You know what to do as we get up out of here. Go ahead and do it. Hit him, Miss D.
Caw.
That's right. That's a tough one. Okay, that's a
Huzzah.
bass in that one. That's a bass in that one. Caw. Anyway, that's you gonna throw a Samuel Jackson in there with that. Okay, awesome. Anyways, we'll see you guys later. Toodles.